Hey guys, it's Ken Maxfield, Hide Guy, and I am president and managing editor of the Maxfield Report. And this is our video blog for the week ending April the 26th. The week started out with Packers offer list much more populated than previous weeks. As we've been telling you all along, we were expecting this. As far as to further add to that, the hides offered were offered for May shipment. A few, if any, selections were offered for June shipment, meaning that basically the Packers have hides for prompt shipment. Large load counts for sale. As far as asking prices, they were $2 to $3 lower, which isn't surprising. That was interpreted as an effort by Packers to bring their asking prices back closer to where trading levels actually took place. So as far as interest this week, a lot of people said it was no better than the week prior, and we all know, basis the USDA export report that was released this week, which we'll talk about later, doesn't look like there really was a whole lot of activity / interest going on this week. The few people who were willing to bid were only willing to bid minimal quantities. Nobody wants to consider voluminous type business. If you're throwing out ideas on prices if you're a buyer, you're bidding anywhere from $2, $3, $5 under asking prices, just seeing, throwing spitballs against the wall, seeing what's going to stick and see what you might get done. So end of the day, the popular opinion of the trade is hides traded anywhere from $1 to $2 lower, depending on the selection. At least that's on the surface. Lots of reports of business being done quietly behind the scenes, but at much lower levels. And of course, if you're going to take that much lower, the assumption is you're going to be selling some volume at those levels. But end of the day, most folks of the opinion that unlikely the Packers cleared their production this week. On the cow hides, a very similar story as to the big Packer hides. Offer list, very populated. Full complement of selections offered. Again, asking prices roughly $1 lower than the week before. And, it's getting to the point where some of these cows are reaching values where they're rendered with no value. Point blank. It's going to be interesting to see how much longer people are going to want to process hides at a break even on some of these lower grade selections. Already reports of several different types of hides, such as rendered hides and maybe number 3 cow hides already being taken to the dump or disposed of somewhere because you can't make any money on them. As far as interest this week on cows, similar story to the big Packer hides. Not a lot of people willing to consider volume. When they are bidding, they have minimal quantities. They have prices that are, lower than asking prices, negotiations back and forth. Buyers realize, in all markets that they are in control. It's a buyer's market, and they are the ones that are going to be dictating price. So, again, I don't think there was enough cowhide sold to clear the production this week. So it's just the story continues. As far as the harvest this week, it came in at 643. That is the largest of the year. That exceeds last week at 641, which was the high for the year, and 628 a year ago was the number. We're now about 122,000 head, or 1.2% ahead of last year. I know we've been telling you we're going to be somewhere between 1 to 1.5% over last year, but right now, if things play out the way they have been, we might have to look at that to be more closer to 1.5 to 2%. Especially if these margins hang in there for the Packers. They continue to kill a lot of animals, and they're making money. And because they're making so much money, they really don't, it's not they don't care about hide values. They're not going to not kill them because the hide values are going into the tank. As far as the USDA export report this past week, it was didn't offer any real surprises. Bring it up here for you. The wet salted sales at 280,000 was about where we were expecting. Wet blue sales 149. That was about 50,000 higher than what we thought. So combined, we're the second lowest combined sales of the year. We were anticipating the report would reflect poor sales, and it did. The surprise was the shipments. Shipments of wet salted hides at 258. Shipments of wet blue at 135. That is the second lowest combined total for the year. So a very poor week. last week for producers, and I'm thinking this week isn't any better. So that's just going to make more trouble for the people selling hides. Quick trip around the globe. Reports from Europe. They're facing a similar situation as the people in the States. Continue to struggle to sell bull hides. Some substantial declines in prices there. Cow hides under pressure, same as they are in the States. Ox heifers, they're trading lower, kind of like the other big packer selections. Not huge declines, but enough of $1, a couple bucks. And the problem is they just don't have enough bids to clear what's being produced. Down in Brazil, we're hearing that packers are already pulling any hides fresh out of production that they can identify that will not end up being at least a yield grade 1, 2, or 3 for them. That's not really making any real difference. Fresh hide prices are under a re-ice now. If you will take a full complement of table run, you can probably, somebody said you could buy as low as 60 re-ice cents for straight run. If you are having them take out the low grades or the undesirables, it's probably closer to 90 re-ice cents. Wet blue, TR1 selling at 50 cents. I know people are asking 55, 60. There's nobody buying at these levels. There's rumors that people are buying even lower. You're getting to a point where it's not even worth the while to put to process the hides with that price at 50 cents. Not for TR1s, mind you, but as soon as you start talking about TR3s, they're about a break even with the chemicals and the labor you're putting into it. And of course, if you have a 4 or 5, you've already lost money on those. Going around over to Europe, Australia, got ahead of myself there. No different there. Kill is coming off a little bit there for them. They've had some, Easter holidays, some national holidays, so numbers running a little bit lower than they had been. That's good news for those selling hides because there's plenty of hides for sale. They're seeing the same problem with demand that we are everywhere else in the world. They're doing their best to try to hold it together, but if you're going to trade any volume down there, you're certainly taking less money. So as far as what we think is going to happen this week, we continue to think that offer lists will be very heavily populated. Sellers know that they're going to have to negotiate prices. It's going to be a battle. And the problem is, even if you hypothetically would, in my opinion, agree to sell hides at whatever number you want to pick lower, there's not enough demand to clean up all the hides that need to be sold right now. So as I've been writing about my reports, there's going to have to be some difficult decisions made over the course of the next few weeks, couple of months. You pick the time frame, but we're going to have to take some supply out of the equation so supply and demand come better into balance. That's how we're going to stabilize the market. Until that happens, prices are going to continue to go south. Lower grades are going to start being a situation where they're going to have to either be rendered or the people who are getting them picked up are going to have to pay the people to come get their hides. Unfortunately, when you're making all kinds of money when you are harvesting the animal, you're harvesting it for the meat, not the hide. And that's the problem. Until next week, Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. Check out my website at www.themaxfieldreport.com. I do offer free 14-day, no obligation trials. Until next week, have a good week.